So right, the UFC finally heads to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and in UFC Fight Night, Whittaker versus Aliskerov takes place as the main event this weekend, and I'm going to be going through the entire main card, starting with the opener, ending with the main event, giving you guys my full breakdown and predictions, and looking at the card right now, it is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. So if you guys are wondering who I got for the prelim card, boom, this is who I got. A lot of exciting matchups that I cannot wait to talk about. So let's just waste no further time and break down this amazing fight night card. Some honorable mentions because there are so many great fights on this card. Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Nicolas Dalby was one of the more difficult fights for me to predict. I was switching back and forth many times, but with Dalby's age coming into question and the power, strength, and aggression of Rinat, I could honestly see Rinat beating Dalby in the course of 3 rounds, getting the win via hard-fought decision. Another fight on the card would be Nasrat Haqpartast versus Gordan. Now, personally, I think this fight is going to be a fun and exciting scrap, but I do see Nasrat Haqpartast stuffing the takedowns and outboxing Gordan to a unanimous decision win. And lastly, Shara Magomedov makes his grand return against Antino Trócoli. And yeah, the bullet is an absolute confident lock against Trócoli, and I think he gets the win via first or second round TKO. Moving on to the next fight on the main card, Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdemir. I mean, what a fun and exciting scrap taking place in the light heavyweight division. Now, personally, I don't think this fight is going to be going the full distance whatsoever, but it is a tricky one to call. At first, I was strongly thinking about picking Volkan to get the win, but after doing a bit of research and after giving it some thought, call me crazy, but I might be going with Johnny Walker to get the win. Now let me explain. Personally, I think a lot of people are writing off Walker because of his last fight, but I just want to let it be known that both guys have fought at the top echelon of the division. Walker has the cleaner wins. He has the wider advantages, has been a lot more active, quicker, stronger, faster. I honestly think Johnny Walker rights the wrongs from his previous performance and fight and beats an aging 50-50 Volkan Oezdemir. So, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to be going with Johnny Walker to get the win via first or second round TKO. We move on to the feature fight of the main card, Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. Will this be the time where I'll still be picking Kelvin Gastelum in 2024? Personally, I do think this is a tricky one to call. In a fight where both guys are at the high end of their careers, makes it a pretty winnable matchup for either or. However, I say all this, but I am liking Gastelum's chances in this stylistically. He'll have the ability to box and strike with Rodriguez when he wants to, and he'll have the ability and advantage in the wrestling and grappling department. At this point in time, it is an absolute must-win for Gastelum. If he loses this one, I don't really think he can go up in middleweight nor continue at welterweight. So at a high-tense situation like this, it is an absolute must-win. And if Kelvin Gastelum loses this one, I do want to see him retire. So I am going to be going with Kelvin Gastelum to get the win via dominant decision 29-28. Moving on to the co-main event, Sergey Pavlovich versus Aleksandar Volkov. I mean, what an explosive and dangerous matchup taking place in the heavyweight division. For anybody that doesn't know, both these guys happen to be really good friends and training partners, so hopefully there's no hard feelings between the two after this fight. Now, I do think that will be a very big factor coming into this. Since they've trained and sparred with each other, they kind of know each other's strengths and weaknesses, so I'm expecting a different fight here. I'm expecting a technical and somewhat low pace at the start, but as the fight will go along, I do think Sergey Pavlovich will find the shot selection and find something massive on the chin of Aleksandar Volkov. So I am going to be going with Sergey Pavlovich to get the win via brutal second or third round KO. We move on to the main event. Robert Whittaker versus IKRAM ALISKEROV. Very, very interesting stylistic matchup we got here. Now, I know a lot of people are picking Robert Whittaker in this. He is the favorite and community pick, but I'm going to go against the grain here. I personally think IKRAM is the more dangerous fighter out of the two, the better grappler, carries devastating knockout power, and has really solid finishing instinct. Again, I'm not doubting Whittaker's chances whatsoever. He carries loads of experience and is MMA royalty, but with that, he accumulated a lot of damage throughout his years, and I can honestly see someone as dangerous as IKRAM catching Whittaker in the later rounds. IKRAM is undefeated in the UFC, and I honestly think it extends to 3-0. Again, all respect to Whittaker, but it's time for some new blood in the division, and I'm going to be going with the underdog value of IKRAM ALISKEROV to get the win via third or fourth round TKO. All in all, did pretty mid on last weekend's card. Although I did get a few fights right, I did get 6 wrong, went 1 for 3 on my locks, and on the bright side of things, I did get another main event right. So overall, I had a total record of 5-6. Again, not my best of work, but I am getting good feelings with this weekend's card. So thank you guys for watching today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on my socials, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!
Have you come to join the lesson or just to observe? Isn't it obvious? Teaching these kids how to throw a decent punch. There are a lot of dangerous people out there. Bandits, forsworn, you name it. Who wouldn't think twice about hurting you? I'm a pretty decent fighter myself, so the least I can do is teach them the basics on how to defend themselves.